The woman was just about to walk out of the supermarket. A bullet from nowhere hit her arm, but clearly, there wasn't a single person inside the supermarket. She quickly hid under a shelf. Then another bullet came. It almost hit her head. In her panic, she noticed a bullet hole in the glass. So the bullet came from outside, and she was still within the shooter's firing range. She quickly hid under a shelf on the other side. She tore open her clothes and simply treated the wound. Then she shouted her boyfriend's name loudly because her boyfriend was in the car outside right then. But the music inside the car was very loud. Her boyfriend surprisingly didn't hear it at all. The woman noticed her phone was on the floor not far away. If she could get the phone, she could call the police. Thinking this, she bent down and crawled slowly towards the phone. Just as she carefully, slowly reached her hand towards the phone instantly shattered into pieces. The shooter was clever. He had guessed the woman's thoughts and was already prepared to fire. The woman was scared out of her wits, hiding under the shelf, not daring to move. Just then, a man's voice came from the supermarket. "Amelia, can you hear me?" Hearing this, the woman quickly looked around. It was the voice coming from the counter's walkie-talkie. The person on the other end seemed to be calling the store clerk. If she could get the walkie-talkie, she could ask the other person to help call the police. Thinking this, the woman seemed to see hope again. She threw large bags of potato chips into the air to attract the shooter's fire. After 2 consecutive times, she took advantage of the moment when the other side was reloading to rush towards the counter. She successfully got the walkie-talkie. She told the man that the store clerk had been killed by an unidentified shooter and that she herself was trapped inside the supermarket. She begged him to immediately help her call the police, but just as she was about to succeed, her boyfriend, seeing she hadn't come out for a long time, came into the supermarket to check the situation. At that moment, he still didn't know the danger inside. He hadn't walked 2 steps before a bullet hit him in the neck. The woman was terrified by this sudden scene, hiding on one side, trembling. She wanted to go forward to save her boyfriend, but she was afraid of being attacked by the shooter. She could only watch helplessly as her boyfriend's life faded away bit by bit. Just then, a bullet shot over. Her boyfriend directly kicked the bucket. Seeing this scene, the woman broke down and cried uncontrollably. A few minutes later, she calmed down. Now only the person on the walkie-talkie could help her. She explained the situation to him again. The person on the other end readily helped her call the police and told her the police could arrive here in 15 minutes. But just as she mentioned her boyfriend, who had just been killed, the other person actually said, "Yes, I blew his head off." Unexpectedly, the man on the other end was that shooter. He was deliberately toying with the woman, giving her hope only to plunge her into despair. But just then, the woman noticed the supermarket's power switch. It was on the wall not far away. So she pushed a movable shelf to block the bullets, then rushed to the other side and quickly turned off the power as the supermarket plunged into darkness. The woman was much safer for the time being. Immediately after, she got a bottle of glue from the shelf, then squeezed it onto the wound and used her hand to stick the torn wound together. She tied a piece of mirror to an iron rod to observe the killer's position. Strangely, the killer had actually gone quiet. And just as she was puzzled, a car arrived at the gas station. A man walked into the store calling the clerk's name. He seemed like a family member of the clerk. The woman told him the clerk was dead and told him not to shout loudly. If the killer saw him, he would be finished. Immediately after, the woman asked him if he had brought a phone. If he had, call the police immediately. But unexpectedly, the other person said he had left his phone in the car. The man initially thought this was just a prank, but when he saw the clerk's body, he cried out in grief. However, what the woman found curious was, could he be the shooter himself? Thinking it over carefully, the woman picked up a hammer, but the man said they were just an ordinary couple, telling her not to be afraid. But the woman didn't believe what he said. If what he said was true, he should immediately go back to the car and use the phone to call the police. Hearing this, the man didn't refuse. Step by step, he came to the car. He opened the car door, but just at that moment, he also killed.